Good evening, everyone. So now we are formally going to start the session. It is my proud privilege that today I'm here to welcome the speaker of the day, Mr. Vinayak, who has completed his MSc in Engineering from University of Sheffield, UK, and later he went on to complete his MBA from Imperial College of Business, London. He started his career as an engineer, later developing into project manager, managing multi-million dollar projects. He also spent a few years in management consulting, working for PwC and delivering several projects primarily related to capital expenditure optimization. Currently, he works with Qatar Petroleum in energy sector as a senior manager, delivering organizational effectiveness and strategic transformation across the organization. Vinayak has been a part of several strategic initiatives such as asset management, digitalization, cyber security, international operating model, among a few. He lives with his wife in Doha, and he's enjoying and he do enjoy playing and watching cricket. And he's going to talk on the topic that is management, how a management is soul of a successful business. So without taking much of the time, Vinayak, I think I formally welcome you. I, Dean Academics, Dr. Predna, managing this management department here in GEETA Engineering College, which is the only NAC accredited college in Haryana. We welcome you heartily here, and I think my students and my teacher also extend the same. Vinayak, we will be very active in chat box as everybody is expected to be muted during the meeting. So whatever conversation we will be having with the students, we will be allowing them to actively write it down in the chat box. So I welcome you, and now all this platform is yours, and we would love to hear you. And I'm very confident that we will be able to learn a lot from you through your experience sharing. Thank you so very much, Vinayak. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Prerna ma'am. Appreciate your kind introduction. Very thankful for that. I think my introduction has been said enough, so I'll probably not spend any more time on that. But what I would like to say is that, first of all, I would like to apologize to everyone for having such a late afternoon session. So, and that was primarily to accommodate my time commitments, etc. So thank you so much for that. And thanks to my good friend Atul as well for giving me this opportunity to actually be part of this and speak to you young MBA and management aspirants, hopefully who will go on to develop their own careers in their own respective ways. So as ma'am said that I started off in a very similar fashion. My career started off as an engineer. Some of you may have a similar career pattern and some of you may not. I see that careers can be, from a management perspective, it can be addressed in two ways, or it can be taken in two ways. One, you gain a degree and then you get experience and then you go for a management course. That is a old-fashioned way of considering management as a career option. I come from that background. Then there is a more modern way of considering management where people start their careers in a particular management role itself, which is getting quite popular going forward as well. So I think both career options are seen equally lucrative and equally rewarding for students. So I would encourage you that regardless of what path you have come up to this level, to continue to pursue that path. For me, it was a more traditional path where I completed my bachelor's in engineering and then did my master's. I wanted to spend some time in the industry as an engineer to deliver challenging engineering and technology related projects, and then slowly develop my interest into management. So management was not something that came out as a natural thing for me. I think it only evolved over time. So that is something that everyone should keep in mind, that no matter what you do today, what your interests are, always be open to accept new forms of career opportunities and new paths going forward in your life. So This is important because when I started as an engineer, I was not managing anyone. There were no people reporting to me. But a few years into my career, I became a lead engineer where I started managing a team of 4 people. So that was the first time when I experienced that what managing people is. And if you haven't, from a theoretical point of view, it may be difficult to understand, but from a practical point of view, let me tell you this, that delivering on something is relatively easier than actually managing people and getting things delivered from them. So it is a much more challenging job. And as a manager, you have a lot more effort that goes into when you have to get things done from people who are reporting to you or who you are managing. And it's a challenge that one has to see because that's part of the growth cycle as well. So from a lead engineer where I was managing 4 people, I went on to become a project manager where I was managing a team of about 20 people. So that was even more challenging, but then there were layers. So as a direct manager, I only had probably 5 people, and then below those 5, there were 3 to 4 people reporting to those 5 individuals as well. But then you have to extract value out of every individual who is working for you in a particular engagement. And needless to say, you have to be a good team player. At the same time, you have to demonstrate some leadership abilities as well, such as inspiring people. It's a very important quality. Now, you have to, when you finish this conversation and when you go back to your own laptops, I would encourage you to look at the difference between a manager and a leader. And there are some really good differences between what quality a manager should have and what qualities a leader should have. And in some cases, they are different. Having said that, an organization or a business requires both. So you as an individual, if you can have both qualities at the same time, then you can excel in your careers. So have a look at that in your own time when you get an opportunity. So from a project manager, going back to my own career path, from a project manager managing a team of 20 people, I then joined, that's when I joined my MBA. So for me, it was more of a traditional path where I spent 10 years working in the industry. And then I decided that now I want to pursue a different line of career. And that's when I took an MBA course. And my Master's of Business Administration was actually an executive course. So I was working at the same time I was studying. So the great thing with that was, and this is my personal viewpoint, is I could use the theory that I was getting in my class to actually implement when I went back to my office environment the next day. So this was to me was a very positive way of gaining experience of the theories that I was learning in my classroom environment and in using them and implementing them in a more application-based environment at my work. But when I finished my work, I was looking for a change of career because I did my MBA. I spent time in managing projects as well, but I wanted to do something business, something different. So I took up a career in management consulting, and I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the career of management consulting, but if I have to define it in one line, I would say management consultants are problem solvers. So you have to know the art of problem solving. And however easy it may sound, but it's very meticulous and very structured process of doing so. So, and I'll briefly talk about that as well. But when I came to management consulting, from managing a team of 20, I was again managing a team of only 4 people. Now that to a few people might be considered as a demotion or you've gone back in your careers, but actually not. Management is not just about managing people, it's about getting things done and managing the output that comes out of either people or the deliverables that you produce. So do not ever think that if you are not managing a set of people, you are losing out anything or you are going back in your careers. Every responsibility has got its own challenge. So much so that the current responsibility that I have in my existing organization, Qatar Petroleum, I do not manage anyone. Believe it or not, I have no one reporting to me, but the decisions that I make and the topics that I get involved in have an impact on an organization which is 10,000 people strong. So that is the impact that I have on the organization, even though I do not manage any single individual myself. Nobody is reporting to me. So this, maybe a few people might consider is something that I went back in my career, but actually not. So initially I started off as an engineer in my own little huddle. Then I became a project manager where I looked at the project. Now I look at it as a business. So it's like a bird's eye view of what a business is doing, impacting many more people than you can ever imagine. So that's the beauty of business administration courses. And I would encourage you to look at it from that angle as well. Now, I would like, the best way to talk about experience is through case studies. That's my personal view. So let me put before you an experience of mine, and I'll try and put it in a case study format. So here's an experience where I was working for a client, and this client was a ministry in Saudi Arabia, because I'm based in the Middle East. So I work in various Middle Eastern countries, including Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, etc. Now, I was working for Ministry of Health for Saudi Arabia. And their responsibility is to build hospitals for their people. So they'll build primary care hospitals, they'll build super specialty hospitals for their people. They had a budget of about $30 billion. Now it's a huge number. If I were to convert that into Indian rupees, that comes out around somewhere in 1 lakh crores or more than that. So they called us and said, listen, Vinayak, we'd like to reduce our expenditure from $30 billion to less than $15 billion. How do we do that? Now, it's a big decision they have to take. Now, imagine the person who took this decision of reducing the budget from 30 to 15. What would he or she would have considered as part of the decision? He would have considered the economics of what can be achieved in this particular time. Correct me if I'm wrong, you will have economics as a subject in your management course. So without the knowledge of economics, I do not think that that person would have come to a conclusion that, yes, now I have to reduce my budget from 30 to 15 or below. Now, what else he would have had to keep in mind? He would have had to keep in mind the element of the element of people side of things, because it's a ministry, it's a government ministry. So you have to understand that you're working for the people, just like any ministry in India as well. They work for the people. So when you work for the people, you have to keep their interests in mind as well. So although you have decided to reduce the budget, you still have to deliver quality of life and ensure that your people get the best medical care that they need in order to be healthy in their lifestyle. Now, so you have to consult the right people in order to make that decision making very informative. So if I was just considering economics, I would have probably cut the budget from 30 to 10. But perhaps knowing that I have to deliver certain important projects, I have to keep the cuts to a controlled level. So that economics is very important. And that social side is very important to consider as well as a manager or as someone who is managing a business. Now, a business can be a private enterprise or a business can be a government entity as well. In both cases, the responsibilities are very similar. As a private enterprise, you work towards profits, but at the same time, you work for the people who work for you as employees. As a government organization, you actually work, the profit is a lesser objective than working for the people. That is a bigger objective as a government ministry or organization compared to a private enterprise. So there are subtle differences between the two. So we decided, so this project came to us and we said, okay, we will reduce your capital expenditure from $30 billion to somewhere less to $15 billion. And we started through that journey. Through that journey, we realized that we were dealing with stakeholders, and these are key decision makers who will end up deciding on whatever information we provide them, that they were potentially putting roadblocks in front of our project. So what was very beneficial in our experience was effective stakeholder management. In any project that you do, whether it's strategic nature or whether it's non-strategic in nature, you will have several people to deal with. In small projects, you may be dealing with 5 to 10 people. In larger projects, you may be dealing with 50 to 100 people. Stakeholder management, every individual on that project is a stakeholder. Some stakeholders are more important versus some stakeholders are less important. It's very important as an individual for you to do a good stakeholder analysis and mapping exercise. So one good way of doing that is you draw 4 quadrants. I'm not sure whether you have, perhaps some of you may have studied stakeholder analysis as part of your subjects, or you may in the future. You draw 4 quadrants across your X and Y axis, and then you put your stakeholders and map your stakeholders in those 4 quadrants. It may sound a very theoretical exercise, but trust me, it is a very valuable exercise in practice as well, because after the end of this exercise, I know that out of those 50 people, which 10 of them will give me a hard time during the course of the project, and which 15 of them will be a very cooperative lot, and I can get things done with them with relative ease. So it's a very important thing to do when you're doing any project. Do it in your mind, do it with a group of people who are working with you, who understand this. So try and do it in a mock environment in your university as well, in your college. Do a mock coursework with a project, and then see who's playing hardball, who's being a very nice person, and then how do you get past and navigate those scenarios. So it's a very good exercise in practice as well. So these were a couple of things that I really learned during the course of the exercise. And by the way, ma'am, please feel free to for the students to actually type in any questions if they have during the course of the exercise.
Okay, Vinayak, it was very interesting to listen to you. I have certain questions, first of all, that I wish you to connect. The first thing is journey from India to Qatar, Doha. How this journey had given you opportunities, and what are the challenges you had faced moving from India to any other country, and what are the learnings you would love to share with my students?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. Amazing question. And I left India in 2005 after my graduation. So it's been 15 years now, over 15 years. And the sad part is, and I apologize for this in advance, that I have not worked in India. So real apologies if people think of me in a negative way, but I sincerely apologize for not getting an opportunity to work in India. I did my bachelor's and I moved for my master's straight away, and have been working outside of India since then. But the challenges are very similar. But the biggest challenge was cultural challenge. You are going into an atmosphere where people are different. Their ways of living are different. Their ways of working are different. I went into a culture where people don't. I went to the UK, and UK is not a culture where people are direct to you. They're not direct to you. So you have to understand when you're talking to them their subtle way of telling you that, no, I want it this way as opposed to that way. I came from a background that people used to just tell it to my face that, okay, this is wrong, this is done this way, as opposed to that way. So it took me some time to understand that, okay, they're expecting something from me, but they're not directly saying to me on my face. They're indirectly saying to me, and that's their way of being respectful towards my shortcomings, etc. So that was one of the key things that I learned over time. The other was, in terms of the expectations of how to deliver work. So I did not have the attention to detail when I left India. I did not have that. I realized that there is a lot of attention to detail when you work in a European environment in general. And I'm sorry, but I love India and I'm wholeheartedly Indian, but there are some shortcomings in every culture. So for example, you go to a bridge. I give this example to a lot of my friends. You have seen Delhi. You have seen Lutyens Delhi, which is the central part of Delhi, right, where all the ministries are, etc. The quality of infrastructure that is there in Lutyens Delhi, which is the absolute central Delhi, versus the quality of infrastructure that you see outside of that zone, you will see a massive difference. Why is that? Because the British, in general, their quality of work was superior to anybody else. And that I could see. So when I did my assignments my assignments were, when I was studying to analyze this, that it's very mechanical. There is very less innovation when it comes to delivering the message to the students. And that innovation is required, and that innovation is there, at least in the British way of delivering education. So, for example, my professor in engineering, for example, he used to do tricks in the class to show concepts of either my engineering subject, electronics related, etc. And similarly, in my class of MBA, we used to do a lot of case studies. And I guess that in the management courses in India as well, case studies are becoming a big trend.
Yes. Absolutely right.
So I would encourage people to do a lot more case studies. Things like organizational change. These are subjects where role play is also very important, and mock exercises can be done to actually deliver the message as well. And that's what I did when I was in Imperial as well. So we had we had M&A situations where there was a target company and there was a buyer, a hostile takeover scenario, and we had to negotiate and then come up to a takeover, either yes or a no scenario, and then evaluate each other's performances as well on some tangible grounds. So those kind of innovative ways really help you to basically leave the message in students' minds more than just delivering lectures in the class.
Absolutely wonderful. Again, my next question that comes in my mind, and I am eager to ask from you, is journey as an engineer, then from engineer to the technical responsibility, and from technical to managerial aspect. What exactly the stake was, and what are the takeaways from this journey to my students and to my faculty members?
Okay. So let me personalize this, because my own experience is in an industry which is highly cost driven. So there are very huge amount of cost in my industry, in the oil and gas industry. For every barrel of oil that a company produces, in case of India, it's ONGC and Indian Oil Corporation, etc. There's a huge element of cost that goes into it. So any mistake could lead to a significant financial loss, as well as could lead to a fatality in terms of loss of life as well. So every decision I had to make as an engineer had to go through a level of scrutiny, which was very important. Am I still connected? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, am I still connected?
Yes, Vinayak, okay, now you are connected.
Thank you, sorry. Yeah, so what I was saying was that every decision I had to make had to go through that level of scrutiny, that someone can die.
Dear student, just wait for a while. I think there is some network issue, and Vinayak is connecting to us through a third party on Zoom, because Zoom is not available in Doha. So maybe, are you back, Vinayak?
Yeah, I'm back. Yes.
Okay, fine.
It's okay. I mean, even if we face this one or two times, it's not a problem. I'll still hopefully manage to deliver the message. So
sure.
What I was saying was that every decision that I made had an impact on a particular individual's life on the site. So a person working on an oil and gas platform, if you can imagine an oil platform in the middle of the sea, goes through a lot of risks. So the pipes that go through it, there's a huge amount of pressure that goes through pipes. So if I have designed a pressure transmitter to tell that the pressure is 10 bars, but if the actual pressure is actually 15 bars and that instrument is not designed for that, that pipe could blow up and that individual can die. So there's a heavy price that had to be paid for every decision that I had to make. So as an engineer, there was a lot of responsibility towards that. Now imagine you have 15 different types of engineers and their responsibility as a project manager, because every decision those all 15 engineers make could end up either losing a life or protecting a life. So let alone the financial loss of it as well. And I'm sure you would be aware of, I think in 2011 or somewhere around that time, in Mexico, there was a big oil and gas disaster,
yes,
which spilled a lot of oil into the into the Gulf, and that caused huge losses from a financial standpoint, as well as a lot of lives, not just human lives, but aquatic life, sea life was lost as well. So
Agreed.
environmental damage was done. So there's a lot of heavy price that you have to pay in my industry. So if that sort of tries to answer your question.
Uh, Again, I extend my gratitude. Wonderfully, you have answered the challenges and the takeaway. My next question, although I am asking this question from a student perspective, after this, I allow my students to ask any doubt or question they have. They can write down in chat box. But my last doubt that is coming, when you was a student of engineering, what was your mindset for a job industry, and now you're holding a managerial perspective? So how industry is different from academics? I just want my students to learn at early stage, so that in future they will be readily prepared for the challenges they are going to accept.
Understood. Understood. So academics is quite different to industry, but both are equally important for you to become successful in life. So if you don't spend enough attention in your academic career, then it is very difficult to succeed in your professional career. Now, the key difference I would say is that your accountability increases. Because you are now responsible, you are being paid to deliver something. So you are accountable for what you are doing. So you need to understand that today. Currently, you may think that you are paying for your tuition. So even if you secure less marks, it's fine. Nobody is going to punish you for that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your money. But in this case, when you go into a professional environment, you will only be paid if you deliver the quality of work that you're getting paid. Somebody can tolerate you for a few months or weeks, even if your quality of work is bad, but then soon you will come to a point where the organization will get rid of you because of that shortcoming. The other aspect is that when you are in academics, you are kind of protected. So you need to start preparing yourselves for the wider world. And when I say that, you have a competition among students. So if there are 100 participants or 90 odd on this call, you compete with each other to secure better marks or probably to secure a better job compared to one another. But the level of competition increases when you go into a professional environment, because the job market is a more constrained market compared to the education market. So you have to fight for every job opportunity. Your colleagues will fight for their own job opportunities, and therefore the delivery quality has to improve as well. So there's a lot of competition out there when you come out of your academic environment. What academics do is prepares you with a little bit of experience on the competition side of things. So when you get into the professional environment, you are prepared for the wider competition as well, because you are one among the many. But then the way you perform will tell and will lead your career in one way or the other. So it is very important to give enough importance. It's like front loading your effort early on in your life, so your back end, you have to do limited effort or less effort will be sufficient as well. And by front loading, I mean your education career, your academic career has to have enough attention so the foundations are set for the professional environment.
Vinayak, dear student, please, now it's your time. Please feel free to ask any doubt, any question, or whatever you want to ask. There are now in chat box, you can see Vinayak,
yes.
Questions coming up. The first question is from Prince. He's asking, how does MBA help people to start a new business rather than doing a job? Good, Prince.
A very good question.
Very wonderful question you have asked.
Absolutely. And I think this is something that is getting more and more attention these days as well. There's nothing better a feeling to have your own business and employ people as opposed to being employed by someone. And I'm still waiting for my opportunity to be a self-employed person where I can employ others. So if you can achieve that early on in your career, all great to you. Now, how do you do that? So again, I'll give you a mechanical answer first. So for example, in my MBA course, I had a subject called Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Design, where we had to come up with an idea, and that idea had to be a novel idea, because we knew that it would be challenged by our own faculty members, and they have their own length and width of experience across the world to tell us whether this idea is new enough or has got elements of novelty or not. That's the first element of it. Then your MBA gives you that length and breadth of knowledge of what needs to be done in order to run a whole business. Now, let me break down a business to you. A business involves financial management. A business involves operational management. A business involves strategic management. A business involves people and organizational management. Now, and then you can further break these down into subcategories as well. Now, and someone who's doing or has done an MBA, you need to have an appreciation of all these elements in at least a little bit. So for example, if you have a new product that you want to create an idea and establish a business, you need to know, first have the idea, develop that product. Then you have to sell that product. So you need to have marketing capabilities. So marketing management comes over here. You need to have distribution channels. So your supply chain and your procurement abilities come over here. You need to manufacture those products as well. So how to run a manufacturing unit. So your operations experience comes over here. So you see the length and breadth of knowledge that you need to have. An MBA gives you that.
Vinayak, thank you so very much. I think, Prince, you have got answer to your question. Is it yes? So write it down in the chat box. I would like to add to Vinayak words. See, a beautiful example that comes to my mind is, take the example of anybody who is serving across the road idlis early morning, and in the evening selling something in front of some, you can say, hard drink shop, some snacks. So that is their perspective. Although they are not management graduate, but they are trying their level best to analyze the environment, find out the best customer analysis. And I believe as a student, if you can help them by doing some justice to uplift their business, I think you will be able to develop the business skills you want to explore after doing your masters in business management. I hope, Prince, you are able to connect to it. Is it yes or no? A person who is just working and selling idlis for 2 continuous hours in the morning has been able to manage a traffic which many of the restaurant, even being after having so much of well furnished ambience and all, are not able to do it. From my perspective, that idli roadside seller is a better and successful entrepreneur than that of that big retail chain or restaurant owner who is serving there. It's just an idea. There is so much brainstorming which we can do later on. I think that was all from my side. Let me take up next question, because I think there are so many questions flooded in the chat box. Next question is from Anchal. Sir, as a manager, you must have observed a lot of different personalities. So sir, would you mind if I ask you about the strongest personality you have met, and what a strong personality really is in your opinion? Anchal has asked this question.
Sure. Thank you, Anchal, for asking this question. It's a very good question. When you talk about personality, you actually go into the soft skills side of things. And as a manager, my firm belief is that your hard technical skills are important. However, your softer skills are, in my mind, a little more important than your hard skills, because anybody can get a finance degree and no finance. Anybody can get an accounting degree and no accounting. There may be little bits of ups and downs in terms of the technical expertise, but the softer skills actually distinguishes you from from one another. So the normal human qualities of being a team player is extremely important, because that's how you lead a team. You manage your resources. You need to appreciate the level of task that is expected out of your team. That's a very important skill that you need to have. And there's something called triple constraints in the world of project management, and those triple constraints are cost, schedule, and quality. So you need to have an appreciation as a personality that, okay, if I am expecting something to be delivered by someone as a manager, I need to understand what is the cost element of it, how much time it can take from that particular individual. If I don't have the appreciation, I may expect that job to be done in one day, but it actually requires 5 days to be done. So that is me not judging the scenario, anticipating it in the right way, putting the wrong pressure on my team to deliver something which is not possible. And then obviously the quality element of it as well. So it's the appreciation of the elements, and having the listening eye. It's also very important. So listen to people. The quality in a manager is not always to deliver things themselves. The quality is to get things delivered by people, even if it is someone else's idea, but that someone else is part of your team. So at the end of the day, the success belongs to you as much as it belongs to that person. So you need to understand that. Thank you.
Vinayak, wonderfully you have told. Anchal, I think if we have to sum up the whole conversation in one line, the most important part I think Vinayak has highlighted is the importance of soft skill along with the hard skills you have earned in your degree. And second thing is, I believe, to be an empathetic leader, where you are giving equal opportunity to every part of your team member to express. You never know which idea could take the company where. So be a good listener, give chance to others, be empathetic, and believe in your soft skills, because soft skill will help you to rise and hard skill will give you a foundation and a base. I think, and the combination will make a road towards success. Thank you so very much. And the next question is of Aman. He's asking, when you were a student, then what was your thinking about the journey of life?
Oh God. Okay, I come from a family who had no appreciation of what engineering is, first of all. So I did not get any input on what career to take going forward. So, and some may face the same, some may not. So you may be lucky if you have a family who can guide you through that journey. You may have to fight a little more if you have a family who cannot guide you through that journey. Either way, they're family and they're there for you. Now, as a student, I did not have a lot of appreciation where my career will lead you. But let me tell you one thing honestly over here. In my days, when I finished my engineering, computer science was the hot potato. Everybody wanted to be in IT. And I raised my hand and honestly say that I could not program 5 multiplied by 5 on C++. I was so bad in programming. So I knew that I cannot make a career in computer programming. So I knew my shortcomings, and I really encourage, first know your weaknesses, because you know that you don't want to go there to start your career. You may develop your weaknesses into your strengths through your career later on, through your journey, but you don't want to start your journey with your weaknesses, because that's very difficult to do, especially in this competitive environment. So you want to work on your strengths. And I worked on my strengths, thankfully, because I knew that it will be very difficult for me to get into IT or even get placed in campus. And some may find it difficult that I wasn't very confident person who will get placed through a campus interview. So I decided, what are my skills? My skills were, I can speak well. I can convey my message well. I can maybe be a good engineer or an average engineer as well. So how can I use my combination of those two things? So the answer was, okay, let's move outside of India, where probably the competition is less. And I'll be honest with you, it is less. So I chose the easy path. You are still at a difficult path. So let me tell you, India
so
is
indirectly, Vinayak, you are motivating my students to move from India.
I'm not.
Because
I'm not. I'll tell you, ma'am, why I'm not. Because nowadays, the opportunities in India are equally as good. In my days, the opportunities was only computer science. I could not see anything beyond that. Even a mechanical engineer wanted to go into computer science. How bad is that for a mechanical engineer person? These days, at least, people would like to continue a career into different streams as well. But in my days, it wasn't the case.
Vinayak, wonderfully you have given answer to this question. Again, I would like to add, I had a small example. I would love you also to hear about it. The example is again of a street hawker who was selling early morning wheatgrass juice in Mumbai, Wadley, near Worli. And, every morning he was selling that glass of wheatgrass juice for 20 rupees to all his customer early morning who were jogging or walking on the way. And along with that, he also have a jar where he sells neem juice. And one fine day somebody had gone to that boy and asked, you are taking 20 rupees for a juice that is wheat grass, and you are giving neem juice free of cost to all your customers. Why is it so? So then the man replied that for wheat grass, I'm making payment, I'm getting it processed, and I'm taking payment from my customer because that's my core business. But neem I'm getting free of cost. I just pluck it from the trees and then I just make juice and I serve it to my customer for their better health. So somebody says, if you are not taking 20 rupees, just take 5 rupees. Just nothing should be given for free. Then the man replied, and I love the answer of that boy. He replied that I think selling wheat grass juice is enough for me, and rest part is my social responsibility, which I believe, majority of the people across the world don't understand what is enough. Yep. And the meaning of enough was taught so well by that boy selling that juice across the road for 2 hours early morning. So dear students, although the message is loud and clear, but to understand this small concept, what is enough for us, will take the whole life.
And can I add something, ma'am, to this example?
Yes.
Let me relate this example and put it in the business language that probably would help you relate between practical and business. The model of charging money from one scenario versus not charging money from the other is his chosen business model or revenue model. So when you study that in your course, you can connect the two together.
Yes, absolutely.
And the social responsibility is the corporate social responsibility probably any business does at the same time when they make money.
Yes. He was saying that I'm very happy what I earn by selling wheat grass juice, and that's enough for me. I don't want more, and I'm contented. So I want to teach although at this age, young age, contentment should not be there, but I believe that whatever you do, you should know the limits. You should know what is enough. Next question, let me take fast because your time is also precious. A girl, Nancy, is asking, sir, did you regret for something that you could add to your life at this stage?
Yeah, I had to leave India to find my chosen career path. That would be my regret. Because I travel probably 7 or 8 times every year to India to make up for that.
Okay. And we would love to see you once you'll be again back to India. It will be a privilege and pride for our institute if you can just visit our campus and share your experience physically to our students, if possibly.
Sure. In fact, if I may add that your college is based out of Panipat, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
My little association with Panipat is that I'm a farmer who's doing some agriculture farming in India as well. And I work with some of the farmers in Panipat, actually. So I visit Panipat a few times in the last couple of years.
We would love to see you again once you are back. My next question to you from my student Prince, again, he's asking another question. How to select a product for a new business?
You don't select a product. You actually, that's your idea. That's your proprietary sort of product. I mean, if you select, then obviously it's available widely in the market, so it's not going to give you anything.
Yes.
I mean, yes, an existing product may give you something, but then your next management skill comes here where you may introduce into a new market. So a new market entry for an existing product could fetch you money. but an existing product in an existing market is not a good idea.
Excellent. In fact, I also learned from this answer of yours that very aptly you have said, if you are selecting means you are finding something from existing business, it should be your unique idea, and if it is your idea, you will obviously be passionate about it. I think, Prince, you have got the answer to the question. Next question, very fast, is what qualities a manager should pose? I think Bharti sir has already talked about the soft skill and hard skill part. Let me come to the next question. And the next question is by Gaurav. What is the most challenging thing about being a manager?
Most challenging thing is to get things done from people. Dealing with people is, you will come to face that it's the most challenging thing in your life, because everybody has got their own tantrums, their own wishes, and your responsibility as a manager is you can't speak to them, you still have to be respectful towards them. So with that basic amount of mutual trust and respect, and you may find people in your team who may not be that competent, but you still have to get the work done from them. If you end up doing everything yourself, then you are actually taxing yourself, and that is not a quality of the manager. So you have to deal with all sorts of things when you get things done from people.
So I think two words. One is getting work done from others is a quality of a good manager, and that also by a very empathetic way is again a very, very important part. Next question is from Jamsheed. He's asking, in managerial position of a project implementation, which of the following is better? Macro management is better or micro management is better?
Yeah, excellent question. Both are styles. I wouldn't say one is better or not. If I am working under a manager and I'm part of, say, his or her team, I would not like to be micromanaged. And if my manager knows about it and give me that freedom, then I am going to perform better. So it is important as a manager to learn what your team wants from you and what style of management they prefer from you. Now, that style may be different to what you can offer, and there will be a clash over there, and which as a manager, you will have to work through it. But typically, it will be a good idea to create a balance between your own personal preference and what your team would like you to behave in a way.
Great, excellent. Next question is of Asamuddin, and he's asking, since you have lived with different cultures, please tell what is the role of different cultures in multinational business?
They bring a lot of value. At the same time, they bring some challenges with it as well. By value, I mean you really get different perspectives to work. So something, and that's why people stereotype. So maybe an Indian wouldn't be able to think in a certain way that an Egyptian would be able to, right?
Yes.
And that perspective is very important. And you should not think that, oh, why couldn't I bring that perspective? Because that's the part of beauty of being working in a team, because you deliver collectively. The challenge that it brings is that you don't know how to behave to start with people from different cultures. So you adapt, and adaptation comes with time. So you have to invest time into a relationship. So, I mean, you get an opportunity to speak to your, say, would-be husband or would-be wife, right? But you don't get an opportunity to choose the colleagues that you work with. It comes to you with the job that you choose. So you have to just learn to adapt.
Wonderful, great. Gaurav, I think the question is already answered. How to select a product for a new business, already answered. And let me move to the next question. I think the questions are over. If I'm left with any question, you can unmute yourself. Samad Khan is asking, for choosing any product, we have to study the market first. Obviously, yes.
Yes, it is very important. I mean, needless to say, you have to do a market research. Absolutely important.
And next question is, what are your hobbies outside of work, and what will be your will your employees learn from? I think the question of Tej is not correct. What you want to ask from sir, let me recorrect it, is he wants to know about like what beyond your work you are doing in your life, and what is takeaway of your employees from your learnings?
Okay, so this is my personal choice. Involve yourself into a particular activity of cause. That may not give you anything pure, but only satisfaction. That yes, you have achieved something, and it could be. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial. Actually, it shouldn't be financial. To be very frank with you. So you need to involve yourself in a cause outside of work that you are working towards. So for me, for example, I do farming and I work with farmers, and my visits to India are basically to uplift some of those farmers if I can. So that excites me outside of my work.
Excellent. I think we have taken enough of your time, Vinayak. I loved the all exchange and interaction during last 1 hour, and I think my students are benefited a lot with this webinar, and I extend my gratitude from the whole family of GEETA Engineering College, my teachers, my students, and I think in the chat box you can see their gratitude. They are writing down, thank you sir, thank you sir. I think the best part is to extend what you feel. So thank you so very much, Vinayak, for accepting our invitation and exchanging your learning and experiences with my students. I believe that's again a great job you're doing. And your contribution will surely help the students to make right decision at right time. So thanks a lot. With my folded hands, I expect your visit soon whenever you will come back to India. And it's a pleasure. It was lovely to hear you. And the whole conversation was so interactive that we enjoyed. And I could not see the clock was turning 6:10 now. Thank you. So anyone who wants to say anything, you can speak. Otherwise, you can use chat box. Thanks to all the teachers. Thanks to Vinayak. Thanks, Atul sir. And thanks, Naveen sir, for being here with me in the college at this time, for helping me to conduct this webinar. And I think, Vinayak, I'm also blessed with a great team of teachers and students as well.
And I would like to thank yourself and wish all the best to yourself and the group of teachers, as well as the GEETA Institute as well, and to all the students. I wish you all the very best for your future career paths, whichever path you choose. Just keep your options open. Do not say no to anything. No is the word that you have to you will have to learn a lot when you get into a professional career. When you start working, the worst thing is that you get so much work that it's very hard for you to say no. So you will get that opportunity there with your own personal professional career. Don't say no to anything. Keep your options open always in your career, so you will probably have multiple paths to choose from. With that, and Atul is a very good friend of mine, so I'll definitely take the opportunity to see him as well as the rest of yourselves whenever I'm there.
Wonderful, and we would open-heartedly welcoming you here, and will be waiting for you. Thank you so very much, dear students, for connecting at this time, which usually we don't connect. And I hope this session was valuable to you and will be helping you to rise and shine. Keep smiling, keep learning, rise and shine. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Gratitude to you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.